the room, please retweet the room and add the hashtag AltSpaceVR. We're trying to reach out to all of our AltSpaceVR friends today. Thank you so much, CC. I don't know, you want to get started or we can play another one? Well, it just keeps playing. Let's go.
Yeah, let's do one more.
Can I wake with you? I don't wanna make a plan. I don't wanna go to bed. And you're in my days. I don't feel no pain. And you're in my days. I don't feel no pain. If it ain't a plan for two, if I can wake with you, I don't wanna make a plan. I don't wanna go to bed. And you're in my days. I don't feel no pain. And you're in my days. I don't feel no pain. If it ain't a plan for two, if I can wake with you, I don't wanna make a plan. I don't wanna go to bed. If it ain't a plan for two, if I can wake with you, I don't wanna make a plan. I don't wanna go to bed.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much, Prism, for that beautiful intro. Welcome to Metaverse Monday. I am Hi CC. I am a digital creative, a Metaverse curator. Cheekily known as the Metaverse Queen. And I love to explore. My home world is spatial.io, but I have community and beautiful humans across the metaverse that I enjoy hanging out with. So it doesn't matter where I'm at, I'm always having a good time. I'd like to introduce my co-host, the amazing Prism Art NFT. How you doing today, Priz?
I'm doing great. I have spent, I think, like a few hours in the metaverse this morning. So I'm using this new tool called Lighthouse. It's pretty awesome. All my friends jump in wherever I'm at. So it's kind of like geolocation. I don't know. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I am a metaverse educator, dev, and I love exploring the metaverse. I also create my own artwork, and it'll be along with yours, CC, at NFT NYC. So I'm excited. Let's go. Make sure everybody in the room, please retweet it. Let's get more friends in here. And today we're reaching out to the AltSpace VR friends.
Yes. So if you have not heard the news around the blockchain, AltSpace VR, owned by Microsoft, will be shutting its doors. Its world will be fading away slowly on March 10th of this year. The news came as sort of a surprise to a lot of its community members back on Friday, which it's only been a few days for the community to process. Prism and I reached out to the AltSpace community because we wanted to lend our hand, our support to try to help process the closure, process losing your world, and then also to offer some resources, maybe some sharing of memories to help the communities find a new home, maybe not give up on their metaverse dreams completely, because we want to find the right home for our community. So that's why we're here today, to talk about it, to bring awareness to it. This is a piece of history happening right now. So I think we should highlight it. What do you think, Pris?
Absolutely. It is. So I did not know that much about AltSpace VR, but I'm learning a lot from my friends that I've met in the metaverse over the weekend that are coming from AltSpace VR. I think a lot. I met one friend, Metaverse Josh, and he's a pretty awesome creator. He had already like a Unity environment, and he when he originally saw Spatial, he didn't see like Unity packages initially. So, Spatial's grown up quite a bit since he had looked at it in the past. So I think that's like a big. If you're a builder and you've used Unity and you're on AltSpace VR, and you're like, hey, how do I get on Spatial? Now, as a builder, you can use those resources. And he had like an environment running in Unity already. I'm like, wait, it's just since Friday that they found out, right? So, like, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I had been dabbling in AltSpace because I run with a group called Make an NFT, and also the Metaverse 3 was doing an onboarding on Thursday, just one day before the announcement. And so I had been in AltSpace. I was getting comfortable with it. The VR interface with AltSpace is pretty amazing. You can do things that we can't do in Spatial. It is also built on Unity, so a lot of the builders there, there's opportunity for them to go to other worlds and still thrive, but not just for the builders, but for the community. I did notice some challenges with AltSpace logging in on my PC. There was a bit of a barrier there, so I don't know if that had sort of placed inhibitors on growing their community. But the community that I did see in AltSpace, very strong and very driven, and just a wonderful, just the types of people there. I went to my very first Metaverse comedy show in AltSpace, and I'm going to be honest with you, it was the best. It was almost as if I had paid to physically go to a show. The talent in AltSpace blew me away. I was so impressed, and I want to know more about how everybody's feeling, what their next steps are. And if there's anything that we can do as the Spatian community, as the Decentraland community, as the Mona community, anything that we can do to help. So if you are a AltSpace user, please feel free to request up, and let's talk about your story. I really want to know. I really want to help. And I'm very curious about how you're feeling about losing your world. But I did go to their website, and I was looking at all of the events that they still have going on. So There's just so much happening. There's fashion events, there's Bible studies, there's even a dating show in alt space, along with music and comedy and campfire hangouts. So even though it's closing, there's just so much activity in this world. And so it kind of blows my mind. What was Microsoft thinking? What are they doing? I feel like they're trying to move in a different direction, but what does that look like for the community? Prism, do you have any thoughts, or did you get any sort of alpha from your new Altspace friends?
No alpha at the moment, other than like what I mentioned about Unity. I think that's the biggest like easy bridge. Like as far as like we talk about interoperability and how metaverses can be built across from one platform to the next, and allows you to have that like some base level compatibility. Not everything's going to be the same, but at least the base level, the built kind of like you're building on Legos, and you're working with Lego, and then there's obviously like the specialized Lego, like Technic bricks or something, right? Like, okay, I know kind of the basic pieces, and then there's this other specialized stuff that each metaverse is going to have. So I think everybody's going to have to learn that extra step on the build side. Um, I I had some barrier to entry when I think we had interviewed a few. I forget how long ago it was. At least a couple months ago, we interviewed somebody from Alt Space VR. I was going to go look at my notes. I didn't have a chance to do it over the weekend because I was so busy with Polygon Showcase. Um, so I did not get there yet. But I'm definitely wanted to reach out. Use it. I recommend everybody in the room to just say Spatians are here for the Alt Space VR community. You can use the hashtag AltSpaceVR in your tweets and just let people know and have them come in and say hello, and we're here for them. If they have any questions, they can definitely come in. And I saw Phoenix came up.
Hey, yeah, there was like a solid minute where there was no audio coming from either of you for me, and looking at the comments for this space, it seems like it affected some other people too, so you may want to go over some of that again. The last thing that I heard you say is you were talking about some of the events still going on in alt space, and then you were silent, like there was no audio for a whole minute, so I just wanted to let you know.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you, Phoenix. Give me some hearts if you guys can hear me now. Little hearts. Uh-oh, I got 0 hearts. I got songs. I got Mr.
There you
Mo.
go.
Yeah,
They can hear you.
okay.
I can hear
Got some
you.
stars. Okay, cool. So I was just saying that the even though it's sunsetting soon, there's a lot going on still in alt space, so many events, and I wanted to invite anybody from alt space community up to talk about how they're feeling right now, maybe if they've got plans for next steps. I'd love to hear it. I also want to ask about Microsoft and how that felt when Microsoft purchased AltSpace originally, and how they feel about this mesh that they're starting to talk about as well. Because I'm really curious as to thoughts and ideas around that, and see if we can get a better understanding of what the community is thinking.
Okay, I hope everybody can hear everybody. I was saying earlier that I think there's uh, well, first is anytime you lose a platform, I'm sure there's probably some shock waves that have gone out, right? I saw a lot of people using hashtag RIP AltSpace VR. Um, my myself, I had some challenges with it because I was trying to use it on my PC, and I think having like the Web3 community jump on a Microsoft account, like there's also barriers to entry on that side too. But I think a lot of it before Web3, there was a lot of people that loved using, and I think that's great. I think that's I'm super excited that there's another set of people that maybe there's going to be new opportunities for them to have a more accessible experience. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's going to take some time for them to like find the new home. But I just wanted to let them know that Spatians are here to help support, or even if they don't want spatial, they could use Mona or um, Decentraland. There's lots of options for them. So I think that's there probably wasn't that many options when they first started using AltSpace VR, but now there's just lots of options. So I think that's what we're here to just say, and getting the reaction would be good. If you are from the AltSpace VR community, you're welcome to come on up and chat with us. We're just two Spatians up here, and CC is a Decentraland friend, as well as what other environments do you use? I don't know all of them.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm pretty active in Monaverse, Decentraland, Spatial, of course, is my home planet, if you will. I was really active in AltSpace VR as well, through NFT Oasis and Make an NFT organizations. And I was just getting to know Dates VR and Lawless, who's an incredible Unity builder in AltSpace, who is looking at Spatial now. I'm so excited. For his new worlds and experiences. But I'm really interested in exploring other platforms. For instance, oh, I'm sorry, babe. There are metaverses that are like one-man creations that don't get a lot of hype and a lot of acknowledgement. And through Lighthouse.world, I've been exploring these smaller metaverses that have very niche what do you call it, sort of like niche use cases or niche uses. So that's kind of really cool use for Lighthouse as well. Welcome, Spatial. Who's behind that PFP today?
Me. Me.
Oh, Tyra, what's up?
What's going on? I just figured I'd stop in. I've got a 3:30 meeting, but I saw that you guys were talking about the alt space and stuff like that. And yeah, I've been going around talking to people, and it's sad that it's going away, but there's a lot of different opinions with regards to spatial and other solutions. And so I wanted to kind of just chime in. And I know there was a misconception at some point that to think that we were more NFT oriented, which we're not, right? And we think of crypto as a form of payment. So you can use spatial to do whatever you want, and it's going to get even cooler, right? But the idea of it being centric to NFTs and things like that, that's not the case at all. It's just more centric towards creators being able to monetize their spaces. So whatever form that would be.
Thank you, Tyrone. That's a really good clarification, because I do think that sometimes the metaverse and the DeFi space get a little confused or mixed up for people who aren't in it every day. So I appreciate you hopping in and sharing that with us. Yes.
For sure.
Spatial is an amazing platform for creatives, not just people in the DeFi space, but traditional artists. Tyrone is an incredible spray paint artist, and he's dipped his toes into the DeFi space, but came from a traditional artist background. And now he's one of our biggest advocates and spokespeople because Spatial is so committed to its creators.
For sure. Yeah. It really just does come down to how can an artist, continue to do what they love for a living. And for all of us as artists, it's selling your work, the things that you do. So for myself, the type of work that I did was difficult to sell in a traditional space. So I lucked out in being able to use spatial and the environments and VR and NFTs and being able to sell my artwork. It's just another way, which has led to things like commissions and led to opportunities to show in other places. So it's been pretty excellent, seeing it as a resource for a creator and anyone. I mean, if you want to sell something out of your garage, take a picture of it, hang it up in your spatial space, and point a link to where it is on eBay, and somebody can buy it with real money if they want. You know what I mean? So, yes.
I love that. About all metaverse platforms, there's always a way, like the marketing or the in-app markets, or being able to link to markets. It really is a true global marketplace. It's taking down those barriers, and people in less fortunate countries can have this incredible artwork in this incredible place that they can sell and make an income, make a livable wage, because $3 USD is going to be life changing to somebody in a third world country who makes beautiful hand woven baskets. I mean, it's just a fact. And so being able to be, global like that, really does, I want to say, level the playing field in a sense. So if you are an alt space VR native, please feel free to come up, tell us your story. We'd love to hear more about what you're thinking, how you're feeling, and your plans for the future. Because we don't want you to leave the metaverse. We want you to stay with us, whether it's in spatial, whether it's in Decentraland, Monaverse, your chosen world. We want to help. We have so many resources here. We have Ida, we have Mr. Mo, we have Songs of Eden. We have so many wonderful stations and metaverse enthusiasts. I would really like to help and to, get you the resources that you need. But until then, what is this mesh? Tyrone, do you know anything about the mesh? What is it called? Microsoft Mesh that they're talking about? Have you dove into that, or maybe Prism?
I don't know anything about the Microsoft Mesh. I was about to go look into it. I saw that that was what they were transitioning to. I thought it was like a biz. I think I got the gist of it. It was like a business focus. But yeah, I haven't really dove into this. I think for us, I did invite a lot of um, AltSpace VR friends into the Polygon showcase over the weekend. I did meet one of them, and that was Metaverse Josh. And yeah, I think he's a builder, so he does quite a bit in the space. He already has an environment running. He had a Unity environment. He must have already had it for in his existing AltSpace VR, and he was able to bring it into Spatial. I think Spatial, you have like this great Unity package now, and the Creator Toolkit now allows creators that may have been using AltSpace VR Unity packages, and now you can do that with Spatial. And so there's some, I mean, maybe like adding hotspots and things that you have to like tweak it, but there's very nice interoperability going on now between platforms, which is what you mentioned early, Tyrone, is that these metaverses are starting to kind of like become similar basic Legos, right? But there's always like the specialized pieces that you add on top of it. So I know we talked about a little bit in the beginning, but I just wanted to repeat it since I don't know if you heard me.
Awesome. Thank you, Prism. Yeah,
Oh, sorry, I was talking to mute. You're right, Prism. There is stuff coming that, like, specifically what you're describing and what Cece's describing. There's features that are coming. They're going to make a lot of things that you think right now are like, I wonder, to okay, now I can do that, and it's tying it all together. And with Unity, being able to build that in at the ground level. So, like, for example, there might be some feature that you would build into a space in Unity yourself and add that in, versus what about if it's just already available and it becomes even easier for you to include that feature set, into what you publish. And I think that's where we're going to be looking at tying certain things together when you talk about marketplaces and things like that. The idea is unifying the experience for people and making them feel as though when they come in, here's all the options for what you can do for a space, and you just bolt them on in Unity and let it fly. So yes, things are coming. I'll have to give you a little alpha before the alpha. Boy, hotspot or seats are going to get cooler.
Dun dun dun. I love a good alpha drop. That's why we let Tyrone come up and speak.
Yeah.
Oh, I know you have to hop off to a meeting soon, but thank you
Yep.
so much for bringing the spatial PFP in here and giving us a little hope for our AltSpace VR friends. We're definitely going to try to onboard some of them into our Spatian community because we have a lot of love to give. So thank you so much for popping in.
Thanks for doing it. I appreciate that. I will be doing my Twitter space at 6 o'clock. So if I see you guys then, take it easy.
Be there, be square. So I was looking
Later.
late. I was looking at this Microsoft Mesh, and it looks like they are pivoting, which is pretty interesting. They're pivoting to, like you said, Prism, a more workplace experience, because I guess they had early customers and partners that enjoyed that aspect of it, and so I'm wondering where they expected their creatives to go, where they expected the communities who are doing, music events and art galleries and hangout spots. I guess that wasn't their primary concern. Sorry to go. I'm reading. As I'm reading, I'm kind of feeling a little bummed. So sorry for the the low note. But yes, if you are in the AltSpace VR community, we'd love to have you pop up and share your thoughts, your feelings, your next steps with us. We are here to help you. We're here to onboard into whatever world would best suit you in your community. So Prism, tell me, what was your first thought when you saw, well, when you heard that AltSpace was closing? Had you been into it before, or was it sort of a new world for you to hear about as it was ending?
Yeah, I think a couple of months ago I was on. I think we were on the show, and we had some alt space friends come in, and I went into their environment. So I was like, that was my first like time to go in. So, but I think like I noticed there was some friction that could be improved to make it just a better user experience. Um, and it because it was a challenge to do it right because it wasn't web based. You had to download a client. So that I know that from app development, that's always a friction point of having a thick or an application install. People just like to go to a web page and just have an experience, right? They don't want to have to install an app, yet another app on their phone or on their desktop. So I mean, maybe they can always have a graduated experience that way, but like a basic experience required the web or didn't require web. So that's a really big deal, I think. At least for me, it was because it took me a while to get set up. But once you set up, it's not that big of a deal. But I did go a couple more times in, and then um, I was a little bit like I don't want anybody to lose their platform. That's never fun, deplatforming or canceling. We've had that happen already twice this year. This is the second time now, right? We had the review like newsletter service happen earlier, and now we're seeing Microsoft Mesh. But this year there may be some tech that just gets cut due to like cutbacks that are happening in the tech world. So I think we may see more of these where they may have had two or three different projects and they're just consolidating some of that work and effort. That's my guess.
Phoenix, what are your thoughts?
Hey, I'm playing with my daughter at the moment, so you may hear her over the mic, so I apologize if she gets loud. But I would just wanted to touch on what Microsoft Mesh is a little bit. Just to be clear, before the shutdown, I didn't even know that AltSpace existed, so I don't want to sound like I'm an expert on this or anything. But from what I've learned recently about Mesh, it seems like they're gearing a lot more towards how spatial was built or what it was designed for in the early days, like you touched on, for more for businesses and such. But one thing that does set it apart is that it is fully integrated with other Microsoft technologies. One that particularly caught my interest was access to AI within the application itself. Um, which so Microsoft is very notorious for acquiring companies and just completely gutting everything about them after a certain amount of time, transitioning it to a completely different project, or just forgetting about it in general. They really don't care a lot about communities centered around the technology. I've been the victim of this myself several times for technologies that I cared about a lot. So, going back to what you said about where they want the creatives and such to go, I don't think that they care, because whoever is in charge of this particular department doesn't think that it's profitable for them to care. But at the same time, Mesh does have some kind of still like application still. I'm really sorry, but my daughter's screaming right now. But it does offer something different that other metaverse applications isn't offering at the moment.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you hit on a lot of points. The corporate world has a bottom line that they really do, in no disrespect, they really do need to focus on. A lot of the time that means that's at the expense of, you know, the people who, I guess you could say, don't make them money. I hate saying it like that because we're not a commodity, but I feel like we are in a sense. Oh, sorry, personal trauma. But I was looking through some tweets from some friends who are alt spacers, and Nira, who is an amazing builder, and I am crossing all my fingers and all my toes that Nira comes to Decentraland or to Spatial, because she makes the most incredible wearables. She's an amazing builder. She's a powerhouse. She built like almost every environment that I enjoy in Altspace, which is crazy. And she said that this year would have been Altspace's 10th year in operation. 10 years. I mean, I know Second Life is technically like the OG, but 10 years as a world, there's a lot there. There's 10 years of history. My son is only 6 years old, and you do not want to see the file in my Gmail of pictures of him, just pictures. So think about 10 years of like hundreds of thousands of people. I'm assuming hundreds of thousands because it's such a cool platform. But so many people, all of their images, which you have until like the 10th to get off of your, Altspace account, by the way, get that downloaded. Um, and experiences and memories. Like I'm going through and looking, and people are saying, I had my first date, I saw my first show. COVID, like Altspace got people through COVID. There is an emotional reaction, emotional connection. I'm emotionally connected to Spatial, so I get it. Um, to this world, to these avatars that we may never see again. Well, we probably won't, now that I think about it. Ugh, I'm so sad. So I was just, I think I'm having trauma. I'm having, what do you call it? Like a sympathetic trauma of the loss of alt space. I would like to welcome Lisa to the stage. Thank you so much for joining us, Lisa. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. Thank you so much for letting me join. I joined a little late, so sorry I missed some of what you're saying, but I certainly have been through projects shutting down and hate that feeling when you come to love and be a part of them. I did want to mention, though, in case it is an issue of support and resources, that the Alien Worlds planets are giving away essentially grants to people who request proposals if they can figure out how to get them in there and approved and stuff. And so I have some forms if people want to go for that, but it's significantly helping some projects. And so for a lot of creators out there who might be having a hard time hanging out with the bears in the winter, I would invite them to feel free to ask me, or check my posts on that, and be happy to help people submit proposals. Of course, it's free, and hopefully helpful to those who might need that extra support to not have to shut down. So just wanted to hop in and mention that.
Wow, thank you so much. If you want to pin maybe a post that people can check out, definitely feel free to do so. Do you have time to tell us a little bit about the world and the grant and stuff like that? Do you have time to chat?
Yeah, sorry, I was just starting to post it and I had to come back to unmute. Yeah,
No
no,
worries, we
but
get it.
sure, I'd be happy to. I love talking about it. I know some people get tired of hearing me talk about it if they're in a lot of spaces with me and stuff. But for those who don't know, Alien Worlds is the #1 blockchain game, and it has actually several games in its metaverse. But it was one of the first, and it's on the Wax blockchain, but it also touches Ethereum and the Binance chains as well. And the first game of Alien Worlds was mining, where you effectively click, 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 and get Trillium, the game token. And that was very unique and profound when it came out. Of course, a lot of people have since done similar things and have asked for more interactivity. But that was really all part of like a bigger goal to get toward DAOs. So the second game is missions, which effectively is staking. So if you get the Trillium in mining, you can go over to missions and stake it and share in the rewards of going on effectively a spaceship mission with other players. And then the third game is the DAO's game, and it's called Syndicates, but people also affectionately call it planets because there's 6 imaginary planets. And all that really technically exists of them is blockchain accounts, but they have a funding mechanism which is described in the technical blueprint of Alien Worlds from a couple of years ago, and that's available on the website alienworlds.io. And that empowers players to elect 5 custodians on each of the 6 planets. And those custodians are allowed to submit proposals on behalf of anyone in the community or themselves. And if 3 people approve it, it automatically sends the Trillium out into the world. And there's been a lot of like 100,000 Trillium, 50,000 Trillium, 30,000 Trillium proposals recently. And people are building interfaces to be able to see those things and so forth. So that's really exciting. But it's a whole imaginary world, right? It's the metaverse. It's meant to be a simulation of Earth's economy. So anything theoretically you could imagine to do on Earth, you could do within the game, of course, if it doesn't violate the terms of service or any laws. But it's really like wide open there, and it's been somewhat closed because no one knew what to do if you're not around and don't know the people. And of course, a lot of us would like to make sure many communities are aware of it. I mean, for one, it helps the game, but for 2, it helps the ecosystem. And what's really interesting, I think I'd have to look to see, I think maybe a planet gives away like 300,000 Trillium a week right now, and the custodians can change every week. So if it's not approved this week, it might be next week or a future week. But that's only 2% of what is authorized to give out. So the company wanted to roll it out slowly, they've said, to make sure it works and so forth. And so when the full amount is released, if all goes well, hopefully, then that is 50 times that amount. So, I mean, you can do the math on all of this if you want to, but it is perhaps potentially very significant in terms of community support. I sort of like equate it to how YouTube kind of grew, because they grew through creators and then the communities of those creators as audiences and so forth. And so I could see that happening for all types of creators, like whether they're communities or characters or games or anything, right? So for example, this podcast, or well, I don't know what you call it, the space could say, hey, we're going to do spaces, or we're going to do these events, we're going to do these activities, and whichever planet approves this proposal this month will be promoted. And then it might be Planet Neri and Planet Ike, but maybe the others didn't approve it this month. And so you talk about them or their projects or something, and they might fund that. So there's actually a really profound connection between the planet, this imaginary ecosystem, which becomes real, right, as we make it, and another project, because they're connected on the blockchain through this approval process. And so this is really decentralization at its finest, where resources are being given out to smaller groups of communities, I call them, but entities in whatever fashion, to engage and reward their own people in various ways with whatever content they value. And, you know, this is the manifestation and is a great example of decentralization. And so that's very exciting to, many of us who have been working to make that real and believing that the more resources are distributed into smaller groups and allocated, the more opportunity there is for people, the more chance for millions of economic ecosystems instead of just a few, and hopefully better life for humans on Earth, which seems a little idealistic, but yet at the same time, we're seeing experiments and examples of that work. So in order to do that, of course, we have to secure and fortify our communities and make sure the best of our ability that bad things, crime and so forth isn't happening there as best we can anyway, and try to do the best we can there. And then at the same time, also support community creators and help them grow their communities as best we can as fellow community members. Now, some people may have difference of opinions and take over planets and just take all the trillium for themselves, but that's the game, right? That's people aligning or competing and having different perspectives. Like governance, some people think is just the blockchain and other people think is engaging the community. And so I did get a proposal approved for myself to coordinate an interplanetary unconference, and so far 3 of the 6 planets have approved it. And so that was enough to unlock it. So we'll be looking forward to bringing everyone together to create and to experience that conference soon, as soon as everyone decides when it's going to be. So we're looking forward to engaging more and more people. And please, of course, feel free to reach out, have any questions you might have. I'm happy to hop on a call or chat. I'm at Lisa Chandler on Telegram and Twitter and Discords, I believe. Well, actually, Discord's a longer one, but feel free to reach out if you have any questions, and I will be happy to help you out as best I can.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for sharing that resource with us. It sounds very intriguing. It sounds like if I got even just a little bit into it, it would be a rabbit hole definitely to go down, because there's more than one world within your ecosystem, which sounds really cool. Really appreciate you taking the time to share this resource with our AltSpace VR friends, and also with us here today. I did see a comment from Mr. Mo, and profound, sir, as always. He says, the lesson for creators should be to build value in decentralized environments, which they have control over assets using tokens on protocols. I think that is a beautiful sentiment, and I would encourage us all to work slowly but diligently towards decentralization. There was a wonderful, I wouldn't say debate, at Dope Stilo's concert. Was it last week, Prism? I feel like when they revealed Cyber Nerd Baby's environment for the Dope Stilo group.
I don't think I was there for that part of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I missed part of it. I come to the after party after I pick up my daughter, so
Yes. But there was a really good group of builders and enthusiasts at that event just before it was starting, and we had a really good discourse over what is true decentralization. Is it even possible for the metaverse to be truly decentralized, as it, and then we got into what is decentralization, how do you define it, and then there was some discourse on all of that. And so even a DAO, is it truly decentralized, blah 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 blah. So it was a really good conversation, and we finished it, and nobody really got any answers that they wanted, but we did all agree that there is a lot of work to do. We are still building the foundation, and we are still building the backbone on which future generations are going to be building whatever it is that we're working towards as soon as we figure it out.
yeah, I would
So
say that it's like the layer. You have to think of it in layers too. Like decentralization is not like the entire stack of software. Think of it like I don't know, a sandwich. You have different sections that are going to be decentralized and some things that are going to have some centralized pieces, right? So you have to have I mean, people are not going to go, where do I go? well, I have to go everywhere to get to somewhere. Like, they're going to want an existing, like a destination, a location. So you're going to have hubs, or you have to have somebody that's running a server somewhere. So that's somewhat centralized, because that entity or that company has to run something to make it work. And there are solutions around like decentralized cloud, but it still has centralized pieces to it. So, yeah, I think, well, decentralization, we could we could change the whole topic just to that all alone. But I think we want to like make sure we keep it going. Please, uh, like, keep asking your questions in the bottom right, and also just add the hashtag AltspaceVR, and we're just sending words of support, encouragement for the people that have been using the Altspace VR community. They've been using the platform. They just found out March 10th that they will no longer be able to use it based on Microsoft's switch to using Microsoft Mesh. Yeah, and I saw that it was like for Microsoft Teams too. So it sounds like it's integrated into the Teams product, which is a very business focused. I don't know if businesses will get on their avatars, but we'll see. I did invite my friend Metaverse Josh. I'm not sure if he's going to show. We'll see. I think let's see. Yeah, not yet. He's not here yet, but I did mention it to him, so hopefully he'll come in and talk to us as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Yep. I was chatting with Lawless XR. He is a wonderful community connector and builder in Altspace. And he wanted to talk about, and he began to show me his worlds in Altspace, and it blew my mind, the things that you could do. And it just also made me very sad that what they were building in Altspace specifically was not going to see its debut, I guess you could say, because they were in the middle of building. And the process for which they were doing the build um, had taken so much time and love, and it was meticulous. And grateful that we can take that environment and move it to another world. But in essence, they're abandoning this project on this platform. They're grateful that they can move it, but is it going to be what the original vision was? I don't know. I don't think they can do it just yet on another platform. And so we were having this conversation about it, and yeah, it was pretty intense, emotional almost, but it was very interesting to hear the hope and the kind of like switching of gears. So I think that's what builders do. I've known a lot of really intelligent and really talented humans, and when they come up against a wall, they definitely are able to switch gears and continue on, or find a way through. And I think that's perseverance, I guess you could say, is a very common thread amongst builders. And I guess you have to be that way. Otherwise, you'd never get anything done. You'd come up against a wall and then sit there for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. I just wanted to invite Metaverse Josh to speak. He is the builder that I met in Polygon Showcase towards the end, but yeah, he was in there. Thank you so much for coming out over the weekend. And can you tell us a little bit about yourself? And we had some questions too, just for our understanding, and then maybe we can talk about like some resources that we know about, and then maybe you know about as well, since you've already started the journey into spatial. So nice. Welcome to the stage, Metaverse Josh.
Hey guys, thanks for having me up. I'm kind of at work, so I'm on a break for now to come up and talk, but I got a few minutes. Just a little bit about myself. Sometime last year, I kind of finally got into VR specifically as a sort of a huge personal um, sort of interest, I guess. And so my immediate reaction to just being inside a video game to me was just like the coolest thing ever, and I wanted to learn how to build things in there, because my immediate thought process was, if you're able to live in a video game, basically, and I'm not live in there, but you're in it now, and so your imagination as far as the metaverse goes is really your limits, as long as you're willing to teach yourself how to build these things you want to do. And it was the coolest concept to me, and so I started learning just how to build in alt space, like actually in VR at first, but then later that involved learning how to use Unity and stuff like that. And so fast forward to today, I've made a ton of custom worlds using Unity and alt space. I got huge crypto communities and people that follow me that knew I was building this stuff, and we started working on a late night VR metaverse talk show. And the plan was to bring on, different NFT projects or crypto projects or blockchain projects or whatever, any type of emerging technology, and just have a cool show around it, just to be able to educate people and bring interest and awareness to certain projects or whatever. So, again, fast forward to this show almost being finished and ready to go, and then I heard about AltSpace shutting down. So I'm scrambling to try to find a platform that meets. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that AltSpace was like the best, and here's why. But I will say that for somebody like me, who's ready to do something large scale like this, but I'm not. I don't have like a reputation in VR chat to be able to do all the things I want to do right away. There are some other cool platforms I found, like Chill Out VR. Unfortunately, it was PC VR only, I think. So a large portion of my audience is going to be, that Quest 2 or Quest Pro audience. So that kind of ruled that out. We recently found Spatial, and that while that was one I had kind of ruled out a while back, it's really cool that it's cross-platform. But the problem for me at the time was no support for Unity. But the cool news is that they've recently opened that up to some kind of beta access. I was able to take the same project file, and I see that you linked it up there. That scene that I made for my studio, I had that made in alt space already, and it was working. So I was able to successfully migrate that scene into spatial without much work at all. And so while I'm not completely sold on it, I do like some of the things about spatial, like it's multi-platform. There's a really cool feature where you can kind of create seat snap-ins where the chairs are, so you can actually sit in them. So that's a thing that AltSpace didn't have. That's kind of cool. So we're working through that. But at the same time, my uh, the focus I want here now is to be, well, we've all got, as creators, I guess, if you're a metaverse creator like myself, you have your intellectual property that you've made, but we've got to be careful about where we decide to host this stuff, because apparently even people as big as Microsoft can just up and cancel this stuff one day. And it really starts to make me see the value in some of these decentralized metaverse platforms that allow you to really own this stuff yourself. So there's that. Now, look, I think I've been going on for a while. Thanks. I'm gonna get off my soapbox, but thanks for having me up here. I'm really interested in kind of staying around and meeting all of you, uh, and figuring out what all are you guys doing right now, because I think we're all kind of lost right right now, to be honest.
Thank you so much, Josh, for sharing yourself with us. Yeah, a little bit about me. I'm Hi CC. I'm a digital creator. I'm a little bit in the DeFi space as an artist. I am a one-of-one AI artist. And I do events in the metaverse. So I help curate galleries for artists. I do music events. I do cross-platform events. So I'm really big into the one metaverse. So meeting you and hearing your thoughts and ideas lifts my heart, because I feel like we're kindred spirits. Like, it's one metaverse, different worlds. We're all family. And my home world, of course, is spatial. And I have a beautiful community that I love to uplift and support. And so that is what I spend a lot of my time doing, is showcasing our amazing creatives. So I look forward to getting to know you more. I personally, selfishly hope you choose spatial, but also I'll probably follow you and check out what you've got going on, because it sounds really cool. So that's a little bit about me. And of course, you've met Prism. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. And again, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks. It's a really warm welcome. I have to say, Haven't spent a lot of time in spatial yet, but the little bit of time I've been in there has been overwhelmingly positive. Everybody in the community I've met so far has been not just helpful, but really happy to have me on the platform. So I'm already sort of getting that sense of community that I was missing from AltSpace already. So that's a good thing. And I really hope that, again, since the Unity involvement is sort of new and in beta and all, if there's an opportunity for me there to work with some of the developers and getting some of this stuff sorted out so that this influx of creators can find a place to land, that'd be great. And so I have no problem helping sort of work out kinks and things. uh,
I love that. I love it. Definitely hop into the spatial Discord. If you haven't applied to be a beta tester, I would strongly advise that. We need all the builders we can get, especially ones with different experiences, such as yourself. And also, Spatial has Twitter Spaces 3 days a week around 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. If you could ever hop into those spaces, and Tyrone is super supportive and receptive and is open to ideas, thoughts, feedback. So those are some two really good channels that I would recommend for you. And you wouldn't just be helping yourself, you'd be helping all of us if we could get your brain. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
I was just going to add before we go to hands that I did put it up in the nest. A few of us in the crowd, Mr. Mo, Ira, and who else was in there? I think my other friend was in there. My new friend, and then we took some pictures in your new space on Spatial. So we had fun. Um, I think Songs of Eden might be ready to play some keys on that keyboard you have in there. Maybe I don't know. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, it's definitely fun. Like I said, I had this idea for this talk show a long time ago. It's not a new idea. It's not a novel idea. I think a lot of people in alt space have done, entertainment, events like this. I think I've seen some game shows and all kind of stuff in there like that. And that's kind of what gave me the idea. But I was wanting something more along the lines of an actual a television show. And so the idea was to record it in the metaverse, but then I was going to massively, you know, uh, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? I wanted to post produce
Podcast.
and make it look a little bit more quality and then put it out. But just in the same way that you can watch a recorded show live, like, if you actually go see, um, any one of these night shows live in the studio, you're going to get to see things that other people didn't get to see that they cut out or whatever. And so it's a different experience, and you can even enjoy both. And so right now, I think my biggest challenge is just figuring out how I'm going to record that show in the same sort of, perspective and way that I was going to do it in alt space. I kind of had that figured out already. And then the other thing was, as well as I do, if you have an event, and especially if you're trying to record it, you want to be able to keep out the general populace from just being able to kind of run up in your camera, view. And so I'm still trying to figure out in spatial how we would do that. In alt space, they had what was called sort of like an audience area, but I've been told that probably the best way to do this is just to create a transparent wall in between the audience space and the host and guest space where they can't walk through, and then create an avatar teleporter, where they sort of spawn in, I guess, if you're my guest or myself on the other side or whatnot. So I'm still trying to figure some things out. But so far, spatial, out of all the things I have tried, I think is beginning to be the closest fit to what I'm looking for. And again, I know it's early, but the thing is, I've seen spatial when it was really early, and it's come a long way in just that time. So I really feel like,
Oh yeah, facial mapping and no legs. Oh
yeah,
yeah, sexy. Um, I do have a question for Lisa from One Existence, and I was wondering if I could interrupt and ask. So we have an audience member, Lisa, One Existence, wonderful community member. He is also a multi-meta maxi like myself. And he is interested in the plans for Alien Worlds on Wax. He says the game itself moved to another chain. I'm not sure what that means. So I was wondering if you could speak to that, or maybe he can DM you or take it offline.
Yes, I'll do it quickly and I'll tie it in. I want to mention before I forget a couple things about spatial, and I will definitely address alien worlds in that context. Okay, so and you know more about spatial than I do, but just since this was brought up, a couple perspectives you can, if I'm not mistaken, put the YouTube video in there so you can have the video, if it's live, like they can click in and watch it if they're visitors, right? And just open it on their screen. And then from you filming it, I don't know if it's helpful, but EOS USA Games was doing this in Minecraft where they send in a different machine and stand there and watch the whole thing. And I realized, like, if you set up in spatial, like right now, you can go in minutes, like a second, right? And just do one for free. It can, with a template, you know, like all of a sudden we're at a campsite, right? Which I did and I loved it. If you don't put live, it doesn't go to the public. And so you can film your show and no one can come in. And then if you click live, and please correct me if I'm saying anything wrong, but you can then go live and invite the public in. And I believe, I'm not sure if they stay there if you close it after that, but it's like a 24-hour thing or something. But I was hearing about it also because I was on the spatial Twitter space, and I echo it was amazing, helpful, supportive, informative, cheerful, loved it. And I did a spatial for Alien Worlds, right? Because I wanted to put the planets up there because we were launching the new planet DAOs. So the third game that just came out is effectively these DAOs, these planets, and it's open to whatever people want to do. So it's up to us, not the team. However, the team keeps adding stuff following the technical blueprint. And I'm happy to talk privately, publicly about any of that. I used to work there, but I was a player before and after, and really enjoyed playing the game in the public, and happy to talk more about that. And by the way, we got a whole bunch of new players like in minutes. The second we went live, like I just wanted to see how it worked, and I set up the planets and stuff, and they came in and started chatting with us from around the world. And I was like, whoa, this is cool. This is fun. I was like, and I put the planets in the sky. And that's a good example of like you could submit a proposal if you have a spatial. I'm going to put the planet information in my spatial and, you know, ask 1,000 trillion a month or something. I don't know, whatever it is, you can make it up, but it'll be kind of fun to see, you know, different people like connect to the planets on the blockchain that way.
I
But
love using other worlds as sort of like fingers, like feelers. So that's a really cool use case, Lisa. Being able to use spatial as sort of like a to put the feelers out and draw in more users to your world. So that's really cool. I love that idea. I kind of tried to entice my Decentialates to do that too. Just make a spatial platform to like suck
oh, it's
people
so
in
fun.
and then take them to your your DCL plot. But Prism, sorry, I didn't mean to jump the
You
gun.
should talk more. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
use it as a
I was going to
platform.
mention one more really big thing that the CTO of Wax just sort of leaked out on a recent Twitter space is that they're looking at adding Unity to Wax, like the Wax blockchain, of having that public interface so we can connect at that level Unity pages. And so any of that you want to like tweet at him, wax __.io, please encourage it, because I'm like, yes, yes, let's do it.
So let's have a group activity. Everybody tweet tweet to
Yes,
Wax.
yes, we want Unity. Or and I think you mentioned Unreal too, and I'm not a big, like, I don't know the difference, and if y'all want to educate me, that's the whole thing, please do. But anyway, I didn't want to interrupt because I see a hand up too, so don't let me get in the way.
Priz, what's up, Priz?
I was just gonna, because Metaverse Josh has to run. I know he's on his break. To answer the question about like audience and like limiting the audience, like where they can go in the space. I actually have a request to Spatial, where like more of a speaker style, but I like the idea of like the bubble approach of like having a bubble that like the audience can't go into. So let's work together. Maybe we can get. I think the more people that ask for the same feature, Spatial listens to us. So and we can get on our our Twitter horn and like get them to help like make some improvements there. So I have had them make improvements to the platform. I have been successful at doing it. So definitely connect with me, and I can try to help, whether it's through my back channels or the front door. I
Or
don't know
the
which
front
one.
door. Prism is a wonderful advocate for change because he's his eye for detail and his knack for documentation has really helped the spatial devs. So he's definitely one to reach out to if you are experiencing any glitchy troubles, and he can help you kind of navigate that whole aspect of it. I did want to speak to that point before I go to Griff. Tom Poole posted a really great idea for any new Spatians or people coming from other worlds, new arrivals to Spatial need to write, well, they maybe could write a feature wish list. Feature creators really do need to be documented. And with that, we can get the best of the best. So Tom Poole, thank you so much, my love, for that suggestion. And then I did want to give props to Phoenix. Yes, I do think we need a Metaverse Historical Preservation Society because there is so much happening and we're living history right now. So I love you, Phoenix. And Griff, my dear friend Griff, how are you doing today?
Hello, hello, my one of my favorite wonderful humans and all the rest of you that I care and have grown to love. Pres Bry. Nova. Hey Josh, I am also a alt space penthouse owner. At least that's what our format is right now in alt space, and we have definitely have a few different small temp spatial galleries, and we're looking probably to make spatial our home, especially with the Unity SDK coming. I think we'll find over time that it'll really be a nice fit. I've also heard that they're working very hard to update the VR, spacing and different aspects in spatial. So as it develops, I think we're really going to head in that direction, and I'm really looking forward to building a home myself on spatial. So any way that I could help, or if you want to come hang out in alt space before it all goes down in flames, I would love to be there with you, my friends. So let's all grow together. I just wanted to pay everybody else their flowers and come along for the ride. Kisses.
I definitely will take you up on that. I've got to make some time to say goodbye to a lot of my alt space friends in case I don't see them again. But the thing about alt space to spatial moving things over, now that the Unity SDK is in beta and we have access to it, I was able to migrate some of that stuff that I already made. It was pretty easy. The problem I have is that in my beginning days, before I knew anything about Unreal or Unity, I wasn't really a game developer or anything before that. So I started out building my worlds completely from scratch in VR, in alt space, with kits either that were publicly available or whatever until I learned how to make my own. So a lot of those worlds I can't migrate because they're just in alt space with no way to export them. There's no assets, no project, whatever. And so I think that's what makes me the most sad is these are things that are it's like artifacts of back when I didn't know what I was doing that I wanted to hold on to, and because it's not my intellectual property, it doesn't belong to me. I can't keep it, and there's no way for me to get it. And so that's what I like about um, at least having started to learn Unity and using that instead, and then being able to migrate that to spatial and all. I still maintain ownership of my project files, so that this is the way to go. So, and it's a hard lesson to learn. You know,
I'll just jump back in there. I am not a builder per se, and I don't work with Unity or anything, and I rely on different builders and assets. And in my situation, my current home, it seems like isn't going to be given to me. Now, that's not off the table 100% yet. There might be some truth that it was built in VR, and that might be why I'm not going to get it. There are some options coming my way that we're all dealing with, but I feel your pain, my friend. I'm doing everything I can to document our space. I'm going to throw a couple more parties for the last couple months and take as many people with me. I'll say the thing that hurts me most, at least on the alt space side, is I literally onboarded by hand at least 150 normies, you know, and I put a lot of effort, including putting the program on their computer. A lot of the Mac users by hand, and I think there's going to be some real skepticism to bringing my friends over to the next space. And I'm just taking it all in right now. I'm doing my best to at least document my world for future history. And again, let's just do our best to collect those alt space people and welcome them forward into the future. So I'm with you. Let's connect. Let's lock up. And if anybody has any questions or wants to come hang out in a party or two, you know where to find us.
Yeah, definitely let me know when the parties are going on. I'm a sucker for alt space or really any metaverse events.
Oh
I
my
like.
God. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just had a thought. You guys are having an end of the world party. I'm dying over. I'm sorry, I'm laughing, but you literally having. I know, end of the world parties. Oh, it's tragically beautiful. I love it. I hate it. I love it. Sorry, I
I
had
mean,
to
that's
say it.
really what it is.
Okay,
It's like
so
it's the end of the world party. So I mean, we've got to do it big. You know, who's the one hosting this thing?
You could come to my
Um,
house starting this week. You could come to my house. Let's effing go.
let's go.
let's get all the musicians we know and then just have an endless stream of music and images. We'll invite everybody to bring in their, their whole library of of images and just stream them. I do want to welcome Meta DJ Official to the stage. Meta DJ
Oh,
is one of our
oh,
biggest family members and supporters, also a multi-meta maxi performing in multiple metaverses or multiple virtual worlds around the metaverse. How are you doing today, Meta DJ?
Oh, what an introduction. Thank you. I believe this may be my first time tuning in here. My bad. Shout out to my boy Make though for the portal, and I blew up with a smile when I realized what I was entering. So excited. Look, if we're looking for music and vibes, I may know a guy who can do some of that for you, but I don't know. I'll have to get back to you on that. I'm kidding. All jokes aside, yeah, really disappointed about Alt Space VR, but I am a full-time optimist, even when I get pessimistic. So here's my take on it. I mean, the metaverse to me, the reason why I got so bullish on it so quickly is because it's like video games, right? But now we're just incorporating blockchain in regards to data and digital ownership. So there's probably so many video games you played that either the developers have left, the funding stopped, the community's phased out, but you kept on going, right? In this realm of video game worlds, the multiverse. So, it's sad because I was just warming up to the penthouse, but the culture of the penthouse lives on. And the 150 people you onboarded, if you truly onboarded them, they're going to be ready for the next one. The hardest thing was getting them in through that first door. Once you tease them, just like you teased me as a little baby meta DJ 3 months ago, right? Oh my gosh, so much that's happened since then. Um, you open my eyes to a whole reality that this is much closer than we thought. And that was on a platform that is 5+ years old, or however old it is. So what I would say, Make, is let's have that end of year part or end of world party because gosh, you can't have many of those where you'll wake up the next day fine. So I'm super down for that vibe. But what I would say to everyone here is, look, check out Outspace VR, see the potential, and then be inspired to continue to build. This rodeo is so early, and I'm here to ride it with all of you. Appreciate your ICC. I'm going to rest my mic.
Thank you, Meta DJ. Really appreciate you. Yeah, if you are part of let me reset the room for a hot second. I'm channeling my inner creative owls. Welcome to Metaverse Monday. This is episode number 32, where we are discussing the sunsetting of AltSpace VR. We're offering support resources and just a platform to vent if you need to. If you are part of the AltSpace community, feel free to come up. Tell us about how you're feeling, what your plans are for the future, because we don't want you to leave leave the metaverse. We want you to stay with us wherever you decide to settle. We've got tons of resources in this room. We have Decentralites, we have Spatians, we have people knowledgeable on Monaverse and VR chat. So if you're looking, if you're exploring for a new home, a new community, we are here to help. So please feel free to request up if you have any questions. If not, I will hand the mic to Prism. Do you have any updates or thoughts, or did I miss anything that we should cover?
I think Tom came up. I just wanted to say hello to Tom. I know he came up. I wasn't sure if he had a chance to speak.
Yeah, hello. It's Tom from England. I think back in regards to alt space, to my first job in media, and we worked really hard, and we made a newspaper as a national newspaper in the UK. And after 6 months, the plug was pulled. End of the world. Lost my job. Back on the dole. Absolute nightmare. And that was the opportunity that allowed me to move into a much more, a different role in the similar space with the BBC, where I've been for 20 years. And I wouldn't have had that opportunity without that change, but I couldn't see it at the time. So what people need to think about, obviously, alt space, people who work there, I can think of a nightmare in digital at the moment with people losing their jobs. I've been there, I've got the t-shirt, I know what it feels like. But what I think the opportunity is, you can't always see at the time of the change. It's sometimes outside of your control, but the change happens. It's market forces, it's people on high making financial decisions, but it doesn't diminish you or what you've done or what you've created. You can take that play on to the next thing, but the next thing is for you to create and find. So the whole thing probably is a test of resilience in regards to employees and the position they've been placed in. I understand the psychology on that one. And I think it's a case of, it's actually, even though you are grieving in some respects, it's opportunity going forward. So I pass that out there as the way I see that current situation. And in regards to onboarders to spatial, the point that I will make is that the opportunity for new arrivals to spatial, I put it in a tweet, is if spatial listens to what new arrivals need and want, that will inform the spatial product. Very dynamic, very user responsive to feedback and new thinking and new integrations. So it's a win-win. Spatial can take on that feedback, and the feature set that's available potentially or wanted, needed by the creators, will ask for what you want. And spatial will have, in many examples, I think, the opportunity to deliver that. And that's just my brain in response to what you've been talking about.
Thank you so much, Tom. Your insights are always so valuable. And you're just a wonderful community member, Spatian, just human. So thank you so much for the support. If you're not following Tom Poole, please do. We have a couple questions, but first, definitely help me out, guys. Tweet out the room, tag your AltSpace VR fam, ask them to come in. We want to hear what they've got going on. We want to help them out. Yeah, we want to be here to support. So I will pass the mic to Priz.
ACC, just to also echo what Tom was saying, and maybe just like what my takeaway is. And I've gone through stages of.
Am I rugging?
You might be rugging, yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah, you might be rugging. Can you give me a heart if you can hear me? Just want to make sure my mic is working. Thank you. I think that when one door closes, 3, 4, 5 open up. But you're right; it doesn't happen right away. You may not see it right away, but keep your eyes and ears open, because you never know when that opportunity comes out. And Twitter Spaces really can actually accelerate those doors. I know that, like we were just talking about, there's lots of doors that are open. We had Metaverse Josh up here saying that the door's already open for something that wasn't there before with Spatial using the Unity package. We had Alien Worlds coming up talking about there's a way to get your environment set up over there. We had Meta DJ came up and talked about how like we can have an end of world party. Let's go. Like we have like amazing people up on the stage. I appreciate all of you. I didn't call everybody, but I just tried to summarize what I have in my notes. And Griff, go ahead.
So we do have a special. I don't know if she's out there to speak on it, and I wanted to. I'll let her jump up if she does. But our world builders, the NFT Oasis group, who has really been our shepherds into the metaverse, they've led us down the way, and the community manager, Jen, if she wants to come up, I didn't want to throw up their options of what they're doing for us as a company, and I was mourning the loss of the time that I've had more wonderful times with this young lady and High CC in alt space, and she really was the one to give us our voice and help us grow it. So I gotta first say before we talk to her, Jen, you have been absolutely amazing in shepherding our company, our friends, finding solutions when they were dark, and always really being there to support us. I feel like you're a sister. Um, and so I was being quiet because I was just keeping the topic about alt space, and I would never want to speak for the Oasis. But I think if you wanted to shed some light on the future of what you guys are doing, so I could be excited to share, because I would never want to do that. So I would like you all to welcome Jen to the stage. She is a true legend. Thanks.
Well, hi everybody. That was so beautiful. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Make an NFT. Hi, Cece. How are you? Prism, everybody on this call. So lovely to connect with you guys. First of all, I have to say hi, Cece. Thank you for creating this safe space for alt space users and all the users that got to experience the beautiful magic that was alt space. And just to give a little bit of recap, NFT Oasis, who I just wanted to hop in and be a little secretive, to hold space for all the people here that are going to be talking about their experiences in alt space and the beautiful memories that they want to share here. But I guess I'm representing NFT Oasis here today, and to speak a little bit on how NFT Oasis feels and plans moving forward. I guess I want to start by, the entire company is in a state of celebration. I think, yes, end of the world parties are great. And, to have this understanding of it's the end, but at the same time, it's everything that it gave us. And I know here at NFT Oasis, we're really celebrating the fact that we got to learn, we got to really dive into understanding what social VR is. VR became something that really meant something. It really created a lot of weight when we added that social aspect of it. And up at the top, I shared the post that we made. And one of the things that Artsy, when we were having a meeting discussion on what stance we would make, one of the beautiful quotes that Artsy said and that she pushed to her, if you guys don't know Artsy, she's a beautiful world designer inside Old Space, and she's taking her worlds in other metaverse platforms. So we really got to learn a lot through this transition period, we will say, of I don't even want to say transition. I almost want to say graduation, because when we graduate, we sort of level up, we ascend, and we take all of the things that we had in the beginning. But Artsy mentioned a quote. She said, "Our community is not defined by the platform BC, but by the connections and experiences we share." And I think that was really special. And I really wanted to highlight that, because if you watch that 2-minute video, you can really see the magic that was made inside of VR social platforms, and the fact that now we have a lot of other allies really looking to share this message. So, yes, Altspace allowed so much for us to understand when it comes to how people connect, how people experience the world in a way that, people who had physical capabilities and that weren't able to explore the world now had an avenue to connect. And for me, having my grandparents far far away, getting them a VR and going inside these worlds and teaching them how to communicate with me in a way that feels very immersive, and it feels just as real as a conversation. It really allowed me and the NFT Oasis team to take the learnings and see how we can push that. And, I want to look at games like Fortnite and a lot of video games that look at their content and the softwares that they push out as seasons. And this is something that NFT Oasis is going to start rolling out. And if we look at seasons, it's everything that we accomplish, right? So you can look at season one of NFT Oasis in alt space and utilizing, our penthouse holders as creating case studies for what we can accomplish in social VR, to season two, which is now updating what NFT Oasis is doing. And we have a whole press release coming out. We have deep communication with Vadim. That's our platform that we're going to be using. So CMOs communicating how we're going to amplify this. Season two, I think we're going to be focusing a lot. I believe we're going to be focusing on accessibility. We understood now the potency that social VR, the metaverse, has with brands, with companies, with individuals, with how artists share their art and bring it to life in something so beautiful like social VR, social connection. It's understanding that we had a lot of learnings, and like Josh explained, it was very difficult, and there was points where you had to do a lot of that one-to-one onboarding, and we saw people
Hey,
like,
Jen, you're
yes.
totally doxing me, girl. I've been doxed right in front of you. I think we could take from this. Uh, we're with you,
Yeah.
and you're jumping to Vadim. I think you just heard that here first. You've merged,
Press release to come, yes.
whole new space with interoperability that we could share with people as an option. I haven't been allowed. I didn't want to say it. I did not. And so thank you for spilling the beans. I'm really excited. I'm so proud of you guys as builders on a platform to pivot, to say, let's dive into a new space with more options for growth within the NFT space, offering apps and a lot of exciting potential. Um, I'm so excited you finally came. So
I
I
was
just want to
riffing.
let
I
you
was
know, y'all
riffing.
heard it here first. I'm so grateful that you guys, instead of just closing your doors and saying, sorry, we know you invested in us and this is the thing, but this closed, so we're going to do something else. But to say, hey, we're going to figure this out together and we're going to keep going. And here's where we're going to do it. I just
Yeah.
want to say thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you. I was
And
riffing. So thank
Will,
you for pushing in and being like, hey Jen, you're doing too much. But yeah, just to close, to take a minute or two to close. Yeah, and I mean, we've made our, as a company, we find so much importance in building those connections, and Microsoft is a company that we've invested so much time, and that partnership will always stand there. And while we were in discussion with Microsoft, one of the things, if you go to alt VR and really look in their sunset page, they're focusing on mesh, so it's that thing I said earlier. It's seasons, they might sunset this, but come down the line we might see a lot of amazing things now pushed out in mesh, which is their extension of what Altspace is going to be, their season two to say. So make an NFT, Josh. No, thank you so much for believing in us. And we have a great team. Our designers have already been looking to see what platforms. We're looking at VR chat, we're looking at spatial. So it's all about adaptability. The only thing we know for sure that is constant is change. So when we learn to change and adapt with all of the things happening in Web3, our focus is to really make sure that we're flexible and fluid. So again, I just want to say thank you, Hi CC. Thank you, Make, for allowing me to take a minute or two or five. um, Sending so much love to all of you, and I'll be back down just holding space for everybody. But definitely, like Hi Cece said, don't go. The metaverse and everything, we're just getting started. We're so early, and I just can't wait to see the evolution.
Thank you so much, Jen, for jumping up. Yes, Vatum. I had an opportunity because of NFT Oasis to experience Vatum for the first time, and I see why you guys chose it. It's got a lot of flexibility to it. So I'd love to have you NFT Oasis back sometime to talk about their Vatum experience and what it's like building on a new platform, and all of the fun stuff. So I really appreciate your time today.
Of course, and anytime we'll talk.
All right, you guys, it's been an hour and a half. I'm feeling really happy that we got to chat a little bit with some AltSpace VR community members.
Yes.
We got to share some resources, answer some questions, really show nerd buckets.
Hey, CC,
Yeah, what?
before you close this out,
Oh,
Bry, the crypto guy, just jumped up. I just want to give him a chance to say
OMG.
hello.
OMG. Okay. Fangirl. Welcome to the stage, Bry.
Hey guys, I didn't mean to prolong it. It took me a while to have to get through all the GMs this morning, so I sat in the listener for a while. But, one of the big things, I did get my start in a metaverse at AltSpace like a year and a half, 2 years ago. I used to be in the Doge community, and I used to have like the Doge Club, and we used to go in there and party it up every night. I missed the Cards Against Humanity and all the awesome things that you could do with the programming. So I am really sad, and big group hug to everybody that's shedding a tear for AltSpace, man. That is really sad. I really wish that they didn't just sunset. Maybe they would have kept like a dedicated server around for it, but I'm definitely going to miss it along with all you guys.
I do want to say that the first time I went into AltSpace with you, it was at one of the NFT Oasis events. I think it was a music event, and you were wearing Viking horns, and I was a little bit jealous. So I remember that. I think I have a picture from that night. I'll have to post it up. But I did drop a link to Vatum Inc. In the Jumbotron above. If it's something that you think might work for you, if you're migrating from AltSpace, please check it out. It may be the resource for you. Moving forward in the future. We just want to give you all the options and make you feel welcome wherever you go. So I do want to give everybody a chance to say their last goodbyes for today. If you have, we call it a safety round. So I'll give you like 30 seconds to say what you want to say. And then I think we'll close out the room a la spatial style with hearts. So Prism, I'll hand the mic over to you and you can get us started.
Yeah, thank you so much for everybody for coming out. Like I said before, remember, one door closes, 5, 10, maybe it's amplified with the metaverse. It's like maybe 100 doors just opened up. So definitely follow everybody in the room. And I think that's we lift each other up, and I think that's where we stick together. Whether you're a Spatian, VR, AltSpace VR, Alien World, Decentralite, we all welcome all of you, and we love going around the metaverse. And thank you so much for your time and attention today. Thanks for all the speakers that came up today. It's really worth it. We are here next week at the same time, 12 Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. I'll see you next week.
Griff, give us some of that good energy.
I just want to say thank you, first and foremost. Hi, Cece. I've grown so much as a person running through metaverses with you, going on adventures, and all the vibes that follow. Bry, Priz, Meta DJ, my guy, always ready to get some. Top to bottom, fam. We about to do this. We're embarking on new journeys, and we're getting this going. The only thing we ain't doing is quitting. We put our hard hats on and we build, and we get where we're going, keeping it real. So let's get those real facts. We all love that drip queen. You can ENS that girl. Be well. Bry the crypto guy. Let's build. Peace.
Thank you, Griff, for always uplifting us and leaving us in love. Meta DJ official, anything you want to say?
Well, first of all, I love that you say official because yes, it's true. I am the official Meta DJ. No, I'm kidding. I just love that you use my handle. I mean, what a beautiful conversation, obviously, with incredible people. What I'll leave it with is I'm really excited about the infrastructure that's being built for the metaverse. Highly following it. I'm not personally a builder of digital infrastructure. I'm more of a builder of brands and ideas and experiences. So I'll say on a bias level, as much as I'm excited what's being built, I am even more excited for the experiences that are going to be created to fill these infrastructures. So I'll say to you guys is if any of you guys aren't builders in the more classical way, which if you are, amazing, we need you, I need you. But more importantly, there's an opportunity, especially during this quiet, simmering period of the market, to think about what immersive experiences will bring your close loved ones together, that'll bridge the gaps in regards to experiences that we can share. And I mean, do you hear the emotion in this room? This is all happening virtually, fam. Sometimes in person, but mostly in virtually. Think about that. Pursue your dreams. Seriously, you can do it with even a dime, maybe a nickel. And I rest my mic.
Thank you so much, Meta DJ. And I believe you have a Twitter space around disrupting the metaverse with AI. Is that correct? Is that still going on?
It is. I didn't schedule for this week. Meta DJ values disconnecting sometimes. So this is the only Twitter space I've joined today. Probably, who knows? But just to keep it short, yes, I do host a new space, a weekly space called The Positive Disruption of the Metaverse and AI. I'd like to say I'm a subject matter expert. So we'll leave it at that. If you're interested, keep a look on my feed. I'm setting a schedule for it. I realized I was actually conflicting unintentionally with CC Space. So here I am as a listener to admire and enjoy. But stay tuned, guys. Yeah, if you want some more alpha about my take and all, my following's take and your take, please join me and I'll share the details shortly.
Thank you so much, Meta DJ. Metaverse, Josh, do you have any last thoughts?
No, not really. I really enjoyed the space, and thanks for having me here, guys. I really liked, enjoyed meeting all of you. I hope I get to actually meet up in the metaverse soon. Hopefully, this end of the world party we were talking about sounds like a good idea.
Oh yeah, we'll be on back channels getting that set up for sure, 100%. I'll go to Lisa and then we're gonna finish up with Bry, Sage, and our Phoenix. Sorry, I always call him Nova Sage in my head. And then Tom will be our last one for today. So Lisa.
First of all, thank you for such a warm welcome today. It's great to meet all of you, and I'm more inspired than ever to be in the communities helping people connect to the Trillium grants. If that's helpful to them, again, please reach out if you'd like to discuss that. But I wanted to mention I just invited Waffles Kitty, and I don't know if you have time for another speaker or not, but if not, you all might want to follow her because she just this weekend did the NFtopia event in Inverse, and it's really well received. A lot of people attend. It's super fun. And she's been creating wherever she is these events for quite a while in virtual reality. And I think would really have fun every week with hanging out with you all. So luckily she was around and joined. So I just wanted to mention that, and y'all might want to follow her too. But once again, thank you so much for being so welcoming. And I can see this as a very supportive place, and glad to be here to help out however I can, feel free to reach out.
Thank you so much. Waffles Kitty, welcome. You just caught us at the end of our show. We would love to have you up to talk about your metaverse shenanigans, especially with such an adorable handle like Waffles Kitties, like two of my favorite things. So definitely need to connect with you. And we will finish out today. I think we have, let's see, who do we have? We have Bri, Phoenix, and then Tom.
Yeah, hey, Brian again. I see a lot of this stuff, like we see alt space, and just a number of things. Being around inside of the Web3 space for a few years now, and it's just one thing that is predictable is change, and it's that evolution of this field. It's going so fast that stuff like alt space, stuff like the Utes bridge over to Polygon, stuff like this. It does ruffle feathers for those that are resistant, but it is blessings in other senses. So the idea that, I mean, alt space, yes, it's sunlighting. It sucks, man. What a great platform. I'm gonna miss it, but it does offer new opportunities, kicking the posterior for those that need to just get out there, right? So like a big scene on Spatial, big scene in Mona, whole bunch of different stuff, whole bunch of new people. When I got to go into Spatial, I got to meet some very exciting people, new things, new niches. People are, it's just like a renaissance. People have got over there and they really started to diversify the field of Web3 metaverse. And I am completely amazed by the stuff that they are building and the networks that they are creating. So I see this as a big opportunity, and I hope everybody. I mean, this is sad, and we will shed some tears over this, but I hope everybody takes this in stride and becomes better and does something even more with what they are already building with in a new atmosphere with new people. And the thing about all this is that we have to be almost in love with this change, evolve alongside with this change, because unfortunately, this really isn't the first time this is going to happen or the last time. It's just gonna keep going, and we ourselves have to become the evolution. So I'm looking forward to building alongside you guys with Spatial. I am looking forward to trying new things, and I really hope that you guys don't take it too much, don't get too far down, dust yourself off, and get back out there. Try Spatial. CC over here, JoJo. They can help you get in. They can help you build metaverse spaces, introduce you, network with everybody. So I really hope you take this opportunity to just explore. Like our old way of doing things, it's done, but the new way is just so bright, and I'm looking forward to building with all of you.
Thank you so much, Bri, for your inspirational words. If you are interested in exploring more metaverses or more virtual worlds across the metaverse, please follow the Metaverse 3 down there in the audience. I am one of 3 curious travelers, multi-meta maxis, and we take on the task of onboarding, experiencing, and diving into the communities of virtual worlds across the metaverse. So if you're interested in joining us, we are Thursdays at noon Eastern Standard Time. Is that correct? I believe so. Sorry, my brain. And we can maybe help find you a new home. But enough shilling. Sorry about that. We'll go to Phoenix, Tom, and then I do want to give Waffles like a couple minutes. They did post something in the Jumbotron that I'd love for them to share. So Phoenix, your final thoughts.
I've got a lot to say, so I'll have to try to make it really quick. There's not a very standard definition for what exactly the metaverse is. There's a lot of definitions out there, and it's a little messy and chaotic. Personally, I define the metaverse as a constellation of interconnected online virtual worlds built around and integrated with decentralized computing. Now, the reason why I define it that way is because it's in the name. It's meta. It has to be something that is transcendent from the ordinary universe. It has to have a level of permanence. It has to live on its own separately from the daily ins and outs of our everyday lives. And when we're talking about companies like Microsoft, we're talking about centralized entities, and it can't all be centralized. The metaverse has to have a decentralized core, but part of the metaverse can be centralized. I don't think of spatial as a metaverse. I consider spatial as part of the metaverse. All of these online worlds are interconnected, especially when you consider like the relationship that Decentraland and spatial has. You can go between the two now. And I think the more that we become more interconnected, that is the true metaverse. Now, with alt space closing, I mean, it's very much akin to like in real life when like my favorite restaurant closes down. Like there is no replacement for that. I enjoyed it while it lasted, but there wasn't a level of permanence to it other than the resources that went in to keep it moving. But that doesn't change that there's still a restaurant scene in my town. And with Altspace and the metaverse, it's still very much the same thing. Altspace has closed its doors. It is depressing to see part of a world, a part of the metaverse come to an end, but the pulse of the metaverse still lives on. Um, and that's the important thing to keep in mind.
Thank you so much, Phoenix. And yes, so I believe in what you're saying 100%. That's why I keep correcting myself and saying worlds within a metaverse, because I want to if I have these ideas and thoughts, ideations, and I need to project them in a way, and you said it so eloquently. So I appreciate that. And in order to stay connected across platform and be a true multi-meta maxi, I have found a really great layer 2 solution. It's called lighthouse.world. Tiny plug for them. They help me keep my events in order. They keep my worlds in order, and I can see where my friends are with their cool Chrome extension. So I do utilize lighthouse.world very frequently in order to hop into these worlds where so much is going on. So if you're a multi-meta maxi like me, it's a great tool. Check it out. I pinned my portal page at the top there. It's easy to sign in and check it out and give me a follow. So I appreciate that. Tom, how are you doing? Last thoughts.
Last thoughts. Two last thoughts. One thought was when the internet was created, it was created on web pages, hypertext, and hyperlinks, and that's a standard. So lots of different metaverses, and it struck me just listening to other people today that fundamentally the important thing is actually you've got lots of metaverse places and instances within different product, different places, different companies. Fundamentally, thinking of hyperlinks, you've got a standard by which you can join one to the other. Big opportunity, work with others to do that. So that was one thought. And the second thought was in terms of like closure of alt space, etc. It's a test of resilience, really. You get a bit depressed when things fall over or things sort of die or fall away. It's natural to feel a bit of loss and deal with that. But it's like a big tree falling over in the jungle, really. It's the Amazon rainforest. The alt space is a big trees falling over, but there's lots of shoots will come up because of the sunlight that's coming in that space. So that's the sort of metaphor for that metaverse thing. It's just a regeneration. All those ideas such that you created in wherever space, all that creative input, all that onboarding of other people, still all valid. All the ideas are still valid. You just might have to rethink in a slightly different way to come up in a new direction or do a different thing. But there's no difference. Just because your environment's changed doesn't mean to say you have, and your creative input isn't still valid. So you can respawn in a new direction, a new way with new people. So it's the opportunity play again. And there's lots of things you can do, even though for a week or two or a month or two, you're going to be in downtime and reboot mode. Again, just have awareness for other stuff that's going on and look at the opportunities provided by doing things with different tools. I mean, the more I listen to what other people are saying, the more actually this space is quite useful. It gets me thinking away from the day job. There's a lot of creative opportunity through collaboration, but there's a lot of creative opportunity that will exist whatever platform in being open with ideas and thought processes and things. Much as I said, when you're onboarding people, think about what people are going to want and think about what you want. And if you're open on both sides to that conversation, then the evolution is going to be organic, rapid, and very creative, such as this space is 40 complete strangers, people I've never met before. But you can really influence each other by very small things that you say in a very positive direction. So that's exceptionally valuable as a creative social process, talking about creating social worlds and social processes. So the more I think about this stuff, the more of a massive opportunity it is for everybody to create things that people have never even thought of or dreamed of. So, I mean, it's just absolute playground we've all got at the moment. 2023, the accelerated change, the AI, the spatial, the Unity, the Unreal Engine, the Niantic, the Pokemon, the AR, the headsets, the MR. It's all there to grab and play with. So just play around with it. There's so much opportunity the more I think about it. It does matter that something has changed, but the playground's still there for you to run around in the sandpit with all your friends and try some stuff out. So it's all there for the taking, to be honest with you. And it's going to be fun for the next few years. I think it's like the start of the internet.
I love it. We're in a digital renaissance, a digital golden age.
Absolutely. That's
And you
exact
say it
word that
so
somebody else
beautifully,
used.
Tom. You're freaking
Absolutely.
eloquent.
Huge potential. It's like more than people will appreciate. I've just getting to appreciate more and more. Digital renaissance is another phrase that somebody else has used in the UK. A book, I can't remember, by Jeremy, I can't remember his second name, a company, big government-sponsored setup called Digital Catapult in the UK, and he's called it a digital renaissance. Exactly the same words as you just used. There's a big opportunity in the creative piece. It's 20 times bigger than you actually appreciate is at the moment in terms of its potential, in terms of its reach. And we're right at the start of it. So enjoy the ride and make the ride to be whatever you want it to be. That's the best way I can say it.
What's up, Priz?
I just wanted to we are getting close to the end, so I think we had one more speaker, and I did want to post up in the top. There is a standards organization for Metaverse standards. I did put it up in the nest, so if you are curious about standardization going on in the Metaverse, definitely check that out. It's a very interesting read. So I think Waffles is next, and then I think we're going to wrap it up.
Yes, I wanted to welcome Waffles. Hello.
Hey there, Waffles, Kitty, and thanks for liking my name. They were basically two of the things I loved at the time when I created this. Anyways, we just finished Anatopia this weekend, but it will be an ongoing open venue for many events to come. Planning to make more Anatopia block party weekends, possibly every other month. It's um, it's not just NFTs. It's more of just bringing in the whole Web3 community to an event to have fun, connect with each other, network, bounce ideas around, and yeah, just to hang out. So, excuse me, I am recovering from pneumonia, bronchitis, and everything else except COVID.
Thank you so much, Waffles. We'd love to have you back next week or another day that you're feeling a little better so we can really dive deeper into what you've got going on because it sounds incredible, especially because it sounds like it's for the community, by the community. So that's really cool, and that's what we're here for. So I do want to say thank you to everyone for joining us for this Metaverse Monday, episode 32. That's like a big number for me, guys. Like, wow, I can't believe I've been talking this long and people actually listening. thing. Uh, we were here today to support our Altspace VR fam. They are a part of the metaverse, maybe not a part of our world just yet, but we are here to help give you resources, onboard you, and it just shows some love because Altspace is sunsetting on March 10th, and it's a big deal. So we've talked about a lot of things that you can use as a sort of adventurous resource to figure out where you're going next, or if you're going anywhere next. And we've talked about end of the world parties. We've talked about metaverse standards. We've talked about hope, and I hope it has helped you here today. So I want to say thank you to my panelists. I want to say thank you to Prism for being the most amazing co-host on the planet. I do see you down there, Meta Mike. You are also an amazing co-host, but you left me, so I'm a little bitter. I still love you. Thank you so much to my Spatians for showing up in force and supporting and showing love. Because losing your world, it's an emotional thing. Think about how attached you are to your world. So thank you again, everyone. I love you all. Let's finish it out with hearts around the rooms, as Tyrone would say, because we do want to show that love to our community. And we will see you all next week.
Echo, ask Web3 Music Vault to play my NFT music. She doesn't want to do it. Echo, ask Web3 Music Vault to play my NFT music.
This is GM music number 3.
Echo, skip.
You have reached the end of the playlist.
Really? I want to go start over. Echo, ask Web3 Music Vault to play my NFT music. I swear, it's going to work.
This is GM music number 3.
There you go. GM music. Enjoy. It's quick. I tell you, it's quick. Make sure you follow everybody in the room. Have a great rest of your week. Check out my Good Morning post from this morning. There's lots of amazing places to go in the metaverse. And she doesn't want to work right now.